This is James Lutton for Slothbox, sponsored by the Excelsior Sporting Club. And today I am joined with Charles Shepherd. Charlie, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. Really good.
Good stuff. So you got a world title belt there on your lap. We will come on to that shortly. I want to go back to the beginning first of all. Do you remember the first day you entered the gym and why?
Well, I did a little bit in Padiham because I was born in, Padiham, Burnley, just, in Lancashire. And then I started a bit there and did a little bit, but, just hit the banks and stuff like that. And then we moved to North Wales and I took it up there.
What was it about boxing that you enjoyed? Because it's something that it's a sport that can turn a lot of people away from it once they get in there. And as soon as somebody gets hit, that's it, game over. People will give it up straight away. Why did you stick at it?
I don't like, it's always been in my family because my granddad, who I never met on my mother's side, he was a professional boxer. My dad had done quite a bit. My brother was right into it. And I don't know, as soon as I got in the gym, I just loved it. I just clicked.
And you turned professional in 1991. Before I come on to your pro career, just what was your amateur career like?
Amateur career, I did really well. Like I said, I started amateur in Wales, North Wales, and had a couple of fights, and then entered into the ABA, Welsh ABA finals. And within a fight, I'd won the Welsh ABA title. Then I fought, represented Wales. They did it with my stake in the ABA quarterfinals. I won that with a second round knockout, and I was in the full ABA semi-final on 5 amateur fights.
So much like your pro career, you moved very quickly as an amateur as well then.
Yeah, definitely. It's just like I say, it's just something I just clicked with.
Fantastic. And I say 1991, you turned professional. Your debut was against a Chris Ashton, who was 1-0 at the time. How did it feel to have your hand raised as a professional for the first time?
Amazing. It was a tough fight as well because Chris was an handy lad. The fight he'd won, he'd actually knocked out a lad from our gym. And I'm thinking, why have they given me this on my pro debut? And it was down in, where was it again? Leicester. And it was really weird because we kind of made history because there were 3 brothers who turned pro. This was my pro debut. The other 2 brothers had both had a fight each. And it was 3 brothers all fighting on the same bill, and we all won. So I think that was the first time ever. It's been done, with the Smith brothers now, but I'm positive that was the first time it'd ever been done.
So with that, and with Chris Ashton beating one of your stablemates in the fight before in his debut, was there pressure going into your professional debut?
Yeah, definitely, because I'd actually seen him beat the lad and he knocked him out, so I'm thinking, oh, this is good, isn't it? They got me a really easy fight for me, my pro debut. But see, when I turned pro, it was just with Bert Myers and Nat Basso. We were the opponents. We were basically a phone call away. So we just, have gloves, will travel.
You mentioned there pressure going into that and you'd seen him knock out your stablemate already. So what was it like to get that victory? Did it make it all that sweeter?
Oh, yeah, it was brilliant. I really enjoyed it. And actually, fair play to Chris, because, I hit him with some real bombs. And I thought I'd stop him, but to be fair, I got it at 1 point or some decision, but it was just brilliant. Just, winning your pro debut was fantastic.
Just a couple of months later, you had your second fight, and it was the complete opposite. You lost your first fight as a professional. But just touch on what you mentioned there, you had gloves will travel. So did you enter this to be a journeyman as such, and be in the away corner? So did the loss affect you as much as maybe some others?
It's weird because when I was in Wales, I boxed out of Bangor ABC. I fought everybody on their own show anyway. So all my career as an amateur and beginning as a pro, I was fighting in everybody's backyard. And that second fight, it was a close fight. I went up to Glasgow. I think it was Alan McDowell, if I remember correctly. And clashed heads. I think it was second or third round, So at the beginning, I started getting cut, which is weird because as an amateur, I never got cut.
Right.
So
if something,
it wasn't like really a loss.
And it's something that sort of troubled you through your pro career a bit later on as well, the cuts, and you seem to get a few cuts and there's fights stopped on cuts. How did that affect you and your mindset?
I knew I was cutting a lot, and I think it was, like I say, as an amateur, I boxed at light middle. And then, I turned pro at lightweight and then went down super feather. And I think it was just, making the weight and your face gets a bit thinner. And I just got really prone to cuts. And like I said, it did hinder me my career a lot.
Definitely. But you did well, like you say, you went in really to be the away fighter, but your first title you picked up was a British title. I think that was in less than 20 fights that you had. How did that feel? I think that was a third attempt at your British title as well. How did it feel to finally get that?
Yeah, it was brilliant. I had to go up to Glasgow, fight a Glaswegian. I really was in the lion's den. And by this time, I dropped down 2 weight divisions. I got down to my proper weight, super featherweight. The first 3 years when I was with Basso and thrown to the Lions, really, and I was fighting way above my weight divisions. I was fighting welterweights and light middleweights. And when I got down there, went up to Glasgow, everything against me, and I absolutely battered him. I put him down twice in the first round. To be fair, he stuck with me till the 10th. I did give him a bit of a beating, really, and I knocked him clean out the ring in the 10th. And that ended his career. I don't think Gail ever fought again. And I had to get out of Glasgow quickly before I got murdered.
I mentioned that's I think it's your 19th fight, that your third attempt at a British title, and you'd fought for an area title as well, which you was unsuccessful in. It must have felt like an eternity to finally get your first title.
Well, that was it, see, because if I didn't knock him out then, I weren't getting the decision. So I knew I had to go up there, because I just lost that one against Gallagher for Fight of the Year, which, I dropped him in the 12th and I thought I'd won and everybody thought I'd won. PJ probably thinks he won and he still does to this day. So, it was a close fight, but I knew, when I went up to Glasgow again, fighting the guys, on the town, I knew I had to knock him out and I was really prepared to do that.
I'm going to ask you a question that I'm going to ask again later in the interview, but I'll ask it now with what you've mentioned. You mentioned you fought, outside of your weight category for most of your early career and potentially a bit too long, and you weren't getting decisions going your way. At that point in your career, you've now got a British title, but did you look back and have any regrets on the weights you were going in at or the route you took?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, to be fair, if I'd have signed with Jack Doherty, and got the core management deal with Tommy Gilmore and Barry Hearn and Matchroom, my first 20 fights would have probably all been 20 or knockouts. If I'd have been fighting people that were, a lot not as good as me, and I had time to prepare, I'd probably won them all by knockout. I was going to everybody's backyard, knocking them. If I didn't knock them out, I weren't getting the decision. It was simple as.
With that, like you say, you probably would have been matched easier if you were the home fighter, for example. But do you think that would have helped you or hindered you in terms of your mindset going forward when you did claim the world title, for example?
Yeah, no, I think it had been the same because I've always had a strong mindset. I've always had to fight everybody in their own backyard. I've always lived away. When we moved to North Wales, I had to travel to Bangor. I was in a little village called Penargroes, and I had to travel to Bangor round trip of 40 miles to train. Same when I come up here, moved to Silloth in Cumbria, and I had to travel when I first turned pro. I had to travel from Cumbria down to Lancashire. That was a round trip of about 250 miles. So I think I was really strong-minded anyway.
Definitely. And you won the British title there. You then went on a run of 5 wins, defending your British title a couple of times, winning the Commonwealth title, to finally winning the world title. You got in your lap there, the IBO world title, 25 years to the day today when you won that title. How did that feel to be, Charles Shepherd, world champion?
Oh, it was unbelievable, especially in my hometown of Carlisle. I've just messaged Barry not so long ago because I'm still good friends with Barry. And I messaged him earlier and said, thanks for everything, bringing the world title, the chance for him to fight for the world title in Carlisle. It's the biggest sporting event Cumbria's ever had, probably still is to date. And winning it in front of my own fans against a legend like, Tom Boom Boom Johnson, it was absolutely fantastic.
We mentioned
I looked the right mess after it.
We mentioned going into your pro debut and feeling that pressure because you've seen him knock out your stablemate beforehand. What was the pressure like getting into your world title fight? Like you say, in your hometown, on Sky TV, promoted by Barry Hearn, there was a lot of eyes on yourself there. What was the pressure like to perform there?
Yeah, I was really nervous. But I was actually my third fight there because I won the Commonwealth there and defended it. So I was really under pressure for the world. But I remember the Commonwealth when I first fought in Carlisle, that felt more pressure. I remember walking, I just headlined the Royal Albert Hall, won the Lonsdale belt outright in record time at Super Feather. And then, my first fight in Carlisle I was so nervous. I remember walking to the ring, my knees were knocking. So I kind of got used to the pressure. But then when I went into the world title fight, it was just, because no one thought I was going to beat Boom Boom Johnson. Even I know for a fact, mates and that, people in Carlisle and Cumbria all going, yeah, Charlie, you can do it. But they're all thinking, nah, he's not got a chance. So there was a lot of pressure, but I was just so focused. I knew I had to win it.
No, definitely. In terms of, I mentioned earlier, do you have any regrets, being the away fighter for so long and fighting outside of your weight for so long? Looking back, hindsight's a wonderful thing. As you mentioned, you won the British title outright in record time. You won the Commonwealth. You won the world title in your hometown. Do you feel like those early years where you did those potential things that you could have changed beforehand, but do you feel that it all worked out well for yourself looking back now? Do you feel happy with the way it did pan out?
Yeah, I have no regrets. Like I say, I was the opponent for 3 years, fighting at 24-hour notice. I've had a phone call on a Wednesday night, this is before the internet, say, right, Charlie, you're fighting tomorrow in London. I've literally had to put the phone down, get a bin liner on, a couple of t-shirts, waterproof jacket, go for a run, lose 4 pounds, get straight to bed. My brother, I didn't drive then. My brother had to drive me down to London, literally get out the car, weigh in. I've been in the ring 2 hours later, and still, if I didn't knock him out, I didn't get the decision. But looking back, no, I don't regret anything. It was character building, I suppose. And at the end of the day, I achieved what I set out to do. I won all the belts that, I set out to do.
Definitely. You mentioned there, that's a real insight to the life of a journeyman. You get a phone call 24 hours before the fight. You've got to quickly go out, shed a few pounds, drive down to wherever it may be across the country the day after and the day of the fight, quickly weigh in, jump in the ring. And for yourself, it was a case of go out there and win. These days, it's a lot of cases the journeyman's to go in there and to teach these youngsters and prospects and not get the win, get through the fight and fight again a week later and do it all over again 7 days later. In terms of back then, what's the difference between journeyman but back then and to now? Was it all the same as yourself, wanting to go out and win, looking for the knockout, or was it like today where some people did just go in there just to get paid, essentially?
Yeah, a lot of them, there's two set mindsets. A lot of the journeymen, they make a really good living out of it. They're fighting week in, week out, so they don't want to get stopped. So then, they're not engaging too much, just going through the motions, getting through and getting paid so they can fight again, the week or a month later. But even though I was, the journeyman, so-called journeyman for the first 3 years, I didn't have that mindset. I wanted to be a champion. I wanted, to catch the promoter's eyes. I wanted to be somebody. So I never had the journeyman's, mindset. Yeah, I took the fights 24-hour notice, but I went in there wanting to win. So I didn't have that journeyman mindset. I wanted to be a champion.
Did you notice that you had more ambition than some of your stablemates, let's say?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, even just to go down and spar was a round trip 250 mile. There were lads who, basically lived 2 miles down the road and turned up for sparring. I'm having to travel 250 mile, just for sparring. Same even when I finished and I signed to Jack Doherty, got with good, decent management. I still, that was even further afield. That was in a little place called Shaw in between, next to Oldham. So I was still having to travel a round trip of, 300 mile, but it's just, I wanted it so much.
Definitely. After winning the world title, I think it was, I believe you were looking for a Prince Naseem Hamed fight. You was chasing that sort of big mega fight. And I can imagine that's where the money was around your weight divisions. I think you had to come down a weight or above a weight to fight Naz. Whatever happened with that? Is that something that you was looking for pursuing?
Yeah,
or?
I got a bit obsessed. Naz had just signed with Barry. We've near enough set up the fight. Just one defence. Two of Naz's brothers were both ringside for the Boom Boom fight. They were there for the defence. And I came in at 9 stone, a quarter pound, trying to show I could, make featherweight. And I just had nothing left. To be honest, I don't even, he beat me fair square, take me out off to him, well done. But I only weighed 9 stone, a quarter pound, trying to show I could make featherweight. And it's a pretty good job. I didn't fight Naz, at featherweight. He'd have probably murdered me, I was so weight drained. When I lost that world title, I don't even remember 2 weeks leading up to the fight looking back. It was a really bad, stupid decision by me, but I can't blame Barry and I can't blame Jack and Tommy and that. I was obsessed. I was the one pushing for the fight. You know, I wouldn't listen to anybody. My brothers and my dad were pleading with me. They knew how weight drained I was, but I just got a bit obsessed. And I paid the price. Because even though I lost the title, I knocked the French guy clean out the ring in the first round. Problem is, he got back in. I only had a round, didn't I? I was that blinking, weight drained. It was frightening.
Do you feel that was a distraction that wasn't needed? Did you feel you lost the first title defence because of the distraction of Naz?
Definitely, yeah. I just, like I said, I just got obsessed, and they changed the opponent at the last minute. So, Gelton was a very good opponent, and I've never actually told anybody this. I never head sparred for that fight. I just body sparred because first day of camp, I just had the plastic surgery. They started swelling up, and people were telling me, close, my dad and everybody, God rest his soul, and my brothers saying, "Charlie, pull out." I was like, "Nah, I'll be all right. I'll do a bit of body sparring," and it was a massive mistake. Massive mistake.
What is it about a fighter's mindset, mentality, and pride that doesn't allow a fighter like yourself to pull out from a fight?
I don't know. I think it's just born in you. I've never pulled out a fight in my life. Regret, I've made a lot of regrets for it. I'm a bit too stubborn for my own good sometimes. And that's what makes us fighters, We're fighters. That's what we want to do. But, I've got a lot of regrets, when I look back. But it's all in the past, what I can do about it. So it's no use, we can't go back in time. So it's pointless going on about it, It is what it is.
That's it. It's happened and it's done, like you're saying. Yeah. After the world title victory, you went on, had 10 more fights after that before retiring. 3 wins in that period. In terms of retiring, did you find it hard to retire? Like you mentioned, you're a fighter, your mindset, your mentality, it's born in you, you said. Did you struggle to retire?
Yeah, it's horrible. I still struggle. It's to walk away from this sport, especially me, like I said, I moved to Wales and I started boxing about 12, 13. It's all you've ever done. And the problem is, and the board need to address this, they get a good chunk of our money when we're fighting for titles. They need to address this. Because when you're boxing, you're a champion, you're in massive arenas, the highs you get are unreal. And then suddenly you retire, you're Joe Public. And that's all you've ever known is boxing. And then suddenly you have to try and live your life. And it really is a struggle for it. Well, yourself and everybody, it's well documented. The struggles have been, fighting in big arenas, live on TV. And then, all right, Charlie. It's a massive come down. It's still a struggle at times.
That low of retiring and, like you say, sort of being felt like you're sort of slung out and away and that's it, that's you done sort of thing. Is that low? Does it outweigh the highs that you had in your career?
No, the highs are always better. The lows are horrible at times. I still get a bit depressed every now and again, because the amount of money I was going to get from the last fight. But it is what it is. You just life goes on. There's other people in other forms of life, and they have to walk away. And you've just got to be strong, haven't you?
You mentioned the board need to do something about this. Like you say, once you retire, that's it. There's no pension. There's no, trust fund set up for boxers or nothing like that at all. And that you've also then got no trade. You're still, retirement age for a normal 9 to 5 is 60, 65 years old. Boxers retire before they're 40 years old. Next 25 years, then what are they going to do for that sort of time frame? And unless you're at the very top of the game, especially these days, a high percentage of boxers are left without much money in the bank essentially when they retire either. What do you feel the board need to do to help aid this and stop boxers like yourself and fighters feeling this way when they retire?
I don't know. It's a tough one. It really is a tough one. But I don't, like you said, maybe take a cut, to sort a pension out. So, when you retire from the game, you've got something to look forward to when you get older. It's a tough one. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it, but something needs to be done. They're a lot cleverer than me. I'm sure between them they can come up with something.
And for yourself, Charlie, what have you found has helped after retiring from sport? So you got your gym there. You had a world record as well. So you've done bits and pieces. And what's helped you after retirement?
Training. I keep training 3 times a week. What do I have? bag work sessions where the lads come in, after the personal training, and we go on the bags, 15 3-minute rounds. I join in with them 3 times a week, so I'm not standing over them saying, "Oh, I'll smash that bag." We do 15 threes. I leave them to themselves, and we just hit the bag. So it's just the training gets me through everything. Like I say, I keep training. When I do the bag work as well, in the minutes rest, I don't have a rest. I jump down and I do 60 knuckle press ups with the bag gloves on. So I keep myself in great shape. And like I say, I broke the Guinness World Record for the most press ups in an hour, and that's what I'm training for, to break again now.
I believe somebody broke your record, and you're looking to get back.
But what I'm aiming to do is something special. I'm aiming to do, if I get time, round to it, I want to beat the original Guinness World Record by 1,000.
Okay.
So it ain't easy. I've done it in practice. No, I tell a lie. I'm about 30 off it in practice at the minute to beat it by 1,000. So what I'm aiming to do is 56 a minute for the hour.
Impressive.
It puts into perspective, it is what I'm aiming to do. Like I said, I don't know if I can, is, to do that and put it to bed. Because I don't think, if I can do that, I don't think anybody will beat it. There's nobody daft enough.
I mean, whether it's being daft or whether it's your champion mentality and mindset, if anyone can do it, it's you, Charlie. I was one of the last couple of questions. I want to link in from your pro career to today's boxing. Mentioned earlier, you were very active in your career, fighting every 8 weeks at some points. These days, we don't see that unless you're a prospect coming in for your first few fights. Do you feel at a top level, let's say, for example, the Anthony Joshua's, the Tyson Furies, etc., do you feel they would benefit from being more active?
Definitely. They're so inactive. They only fight once, twice, 3 times a year. I think if I was around now, I'd go mental. Like I said, until I fought up here, I won, after I'd relinquished the Lonsdale belt, the British title, I won the Commonwealth, defended it, and won the world title within 6 months. I wanted to be active. End of the day, you're a boxer. You need to be active. It'd drive me mental if I was fighting today.
Does that show the mentality and mindset difference between then and now, but also the money being made then and now? Because our boxers now getting too comfortable, they can afford to fight just twice a year.
Yeah, I think it must be a lot to do with the money. And I don't know, I just don't see the mindset. They seem to be prepared to, only fight every now and again. We're boxers at the end of the day. We should be boxing. They need to be more active.
Definitely.
Like I say, it must be the money because they're making a hell of a lot more now.
Absolutely. And just finally, what advice would you give to any young up-and-coming fighter, whether it's a bit of advice that was given to you through your career or something that you learnt the hard way in your career that you would advise to your young fighters?
Definitely stay hungry. Stay hungry all the time. Stay in the gym. Like I said, these fighters now, they go out the gym, boom, they blow up. They blow up, like 3-4 stone. They lose all that weight for the fight. You're a boxer at the end of the day. You're a professional boxer. Train. Like I said, sometimes, I once went 2 years without missing a run. Every single day, Boxing Day, Christmas, I went 2 years. I was like Forrest Gump. And you're a boxer at the end of the day, professional athlete, keep in shape. I always said in my head, don't get over, stone over than you fighting weight. So I'd keep on running, if I didn't have a fight, once I was champion, it was good then because I had set dates and I knew. But I'd always even be running, I'd train every day. I'd either go for a run, I'd go on the bag, I'd do something, I'd keep myself in shape. Because that's when you're a professional athlete at the end of the day. So, for these young fighters now, stay hungry, stay fit, keep yourself in shape, give yourself a goal of, don't go over, stone above your weight or something. Keep yourself in shape.
Absolutely. That's great advice. And like I say, if you stay ready, you don't need to get ready, as I say.
Yeah, definitely. You've always keep, like I say, you're a professional athlete at the end of the day. Try and live the life. I'm not saying, in between fights, you can't go out for a drink and enjoy yourself and have some food, but just go and train the next day. Keep yourself in shape, healthy body, healthy mind as well. You stay sharp up here as well by training.
Definitely. Well, Charlie, I want to thank you very much for your time today. I wish you all the best of luck with your world record attempt again. And I'm sure we'll speak again soon.
Brilliant, brilliant. See you later. Thank you.
Thanks very much.